Hello, book lovers, and welcome to Book Talk Radio Club. My name is Claire Perkins, and today I'm talking to author Dr. April Lisbon. Dr. Lisbon, a school psychologist, is the author of the book Stretch Thin: Finding Balance Working and Parenting Children with Special Needs. Hi, Dr. Lisbon, welcome, and thank you for coming on Book Talk Radio Club.
Thank you for inviting me, Claire.
Sure. This book chronicles your journey as a social justice advocate for children who have been identified for special education services. Can you explain what a social justice, sorry, I got my tongue twisted here, what a social justice advocate is, please?
No problem. For me, a social justice advocate is someone who is conscious about the injustices experienced against a particular population and works hard to change people's attitudes in order to promote a more socially just society.
Beautifully explained, thank you. As a school psychologist, you have helped many families and educational stakeholders over the years better understand the relationship between a student's disability and its implications in the classroom. What are these implications and how do they vary on the severity of the child's disability, April?
More times than not, the implications really has to do with real life functioning. So sometimes, depending on the level of severity of a child's disability, this may include their ability for self-care as they grow older. This may impact their ability to acquire jobs and maintain jobs as they get older. This could also include the types of supports and services that parents are able to provide for their children, whether it be outside speech and language therapy, counseling-based services, and things of that nature. So for me, what I try to do when I'm working with my families and working with the students, I try to align the assessments that I'm doing with the students as far as what are next steps that can impact them within their community, whether it be the school community or outside within the home environment.
So it's pretty varied and wide.
Yes, it is. For example, I can think about two types of children with autism spectrum disorder. One child may have more high-functioning autism spectrum disorder, where they are able to have satisfactory, opportunities to work in jobs. They may be able to, have their own apartments, but they may struggle when it comes to interpersonal relationships with their friends. Sometimes they struggle, with a lot of those social cues, so they may, like one of my colleagues said, seem a little bit obsessed in relationships.
Right.
But it's because they're just trying to understand, what's happening with the relationship, how they can do things better, and because they're so literal, they take what people say for face value. In comparison to a child who may be more nonverbal, one of the things that's going to be an area of difficulty, for the family is, what do you do as far as when they get older? Do you place them in a group home? Do they continue to live with their parents? How will they function from day to day? So I try to align that information with parents so it doesn't come across as a shock, and so that they can start the preparation process sooner rather than later for themselves as well as their children.
Right, I see. But it wasn't until you became a parent of two children with disabilities that you finally understood the raw emotions and concerns faced by many families of children with special needs and development challenges. I mean, talk about walk a mile in my shoes. We were unable to understand what another person goes through until we experience it ourselves, aren't we? I mean, do you think it has made you a better psychologist?
Absolutely. I think for me, when I started in the profession, I was looking at it from the vantage point of what I learned in school, what theory taught me. But when I finally became that parent, I had to take a lot of the lessons learned from the textbook and realize that this is not everyone's life.
Yes.
For me, what I found was that, during the time that I was working with my families, when I finally got the diagnosis for both of my children, I understood where the tears came from. I understood where the frustrations came from. And so as I started working from the vantage point, once I had the diagnosis for my first child, I became more supportive of parents. Rather than speaking in just like the technical kinds of jargon, I really started breaking things down for my parents so that they really, one, felt like that it wasn't their fault that it was happening
Sure.
was nothing that they could do. But more importantly, sharing my story to let them know that you're not, there are other people out there that want to support you, and that we will get through this together. So from that vantage point, it's really helped me to, not only become a better school psychologist, but to also be a better parent advocate to parents in meetings as well.
I guess it made you realise also that one size doesn't fit all.
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
Okay. So how have you managed to balance your career and bring up your children with special needs?
Ooh, that is a loaded question, Claire, because I am still learning how to balance both my career and raising my children as a divorced mom. What I will tell you is that what I've learned to do is start the process of taking care of myself. About 2 years ago, I found myself in a position where, because I was so stressed on the job, trying to make everything work, that my own health began to suffer.
Yes.
And my children started to feel that. And I felt like I was unable to give them all of me, because by day I was, working with children with special needs, and then coming home working with children with special needs.
Yeah.
And I was out of balance, which then created, my kids were, I hate to say, out of whack themselves.
I bet. Yeah.
So what I started doing was, one, taking time out just to do something as going to the nail shop, just to treat myself so that I wasn't lacking behind. I also, had to make a career change, this year, where I wasn't traveling, almost 2 hours one way just to go to work and to come home just to support my family.
Whoa.
And so from that vantage point, that's given me mental clarity as to what's most important to me, and that's ensuring that my children's needs are met, being available for them emotionally, but more importantly, learning how to take care of myself. Because my thing is, I can't take care of them if I can't take care of myself.
Exactly. And many mums that go out to work feel guilty at some point for enjoying their job and not being with their children. Do you, or have you felt that guilt when you make time for writing? And if so, how do you deal with it?
When I originally started writing this book, I did, because once again, I was not available for my children because of my profession and where I had worked. So what I found myself doing to ensure that I had some quality time with my children was I started writing like in the wee hours of the morning. So I would write anywhere between 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning, just to ensure that I had time to, spend some time with my children in the evening. I didn't want them to feel that like it was one more thing taking their mom away from them.
Sure.
So I sacrificed my sleep basically to write, to get the book done, to ensure that my children, had mom at home after work.
You must be super mum.
No, I'm more like crazy mom.
I love the dedication at the front of your book, and I'm going to quote this. It reads, "This book is dedicated to my amazing sons who taught me to love life even in the face of adversity. Mummy loves you both." Well, apart from bringing tears to my eyes, how have they taught you to love life?
You know what? For me, it's just watching my children navigate through their disabilities and realizing that, their disabilities don't define who they are as individuals. Like my oldest son, the one who has high functioning autism, even though he struggles with social communication and, just understanding, just social nuances, he reminds me that, it's okay to be different. Because as long as he likes himself and he feels good about himself, then other people will see the same.
Absolutely.
And the reason why I'm able to say that is because, a lot of times when I watch him, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if, your friends will, think that Quirk, because he still does some stemming, is appropriate. What will they think about you? And he's gotten to the point where he was like, Mom, I have so many friends that, even if one person, doesn't like what I do, I still have more people around me. And so for me, I started to realize, what, that's the same thing that we go through as individuals. Not every person is going to like what we do and like what we say, but as long as we surround ourselves by individuals who support us, who want to see us, succeed and excel, then those are the people who we want to center ourselves around. And so
Exactly.
that's kind of sort of what they've given me, is that you don't have to be liked or, to know every person that comes in your circle. Find the people that support you and just stick with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely perfect. One of the chapters in your book is titled Walking on Shaky Faith. Can you explain that to me, please?
Yes. So when I wrote that chapter, I'm a very spiritual person. And so for me, what I found was that, a lot of things that I had learned growing up, in the church and things of that nature wasn't what I was feeling every time I got another blow that, one, your child now has this particular disability, or when I got a blow where it was like, because of your child's behaviors, your child is no longer able to participate in our school, or even
Mm.
just getting simple phone calls, from a school principal saying, hey, you know, um, your child is having difficulty, so we had to, give them in-school suspension. And
Right.
so I felt like no matter how many times I prayed, or how many times I may have asked for forgiveness for things I did well before I even had children, I felt like nothing was being answered. I felt like I went through that phase like a lot of parents where you want somebody to fix it or find a cure for your child's disability, and
Sure.
I felt like no matter how much I prayed, that this would not be my children's lived experiences, it still was there. And so
Mm.
I felt like, the universe and God wasn't hearing me,
Right.
and so, I really kind of sort of like took a step back from the church, took a step back from, the, 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 the religious dogma, just to find out who I was in my
Mm.
faith, and so that's really where that particular chapter came from, was, having what you knew growing up
Mm.
and doing everything that they taught you in church and things of that nature. And when it became your lived experience and
Yeah.
you felt like it wasn't working,
Yeah.
then you question your existence, you question the why. And that's where I found myself always asking why and not getting an answer.
Interesting. Interesting. So what made you decide to become a school psychologist and then write your book?
You know what? It's sad to say I had no clue what a school psychologist was when I first signed up for the gig. Um, it actually, I learned about becoming a school psychologist based on an undergraduate assignment that we had to do for a career class.
Mm.
And for me, whatever career that I wanted, I knew I wanted to work with children, but I didn't know how I wanted to go about doing it.
Right.
So in this course, and we had to do a career map, I saw this title of school psychologist. I was like, okay, great. I wasn't going to be in the classroom. Oh, great. It has a nice paying salary. And two, I had the opportunity to work with children.
Mm.
So when I saw that, I was like, this is the career for me. And then what happened when it came as far as for me writing the book, I felt like, I felt like two different people when I considered it. Because as a school psychologist, I'm not sure how it is in other countries, but I know here in the U.S., we're considered to be the gatekeepers of special education. And so it's one of those things where, you have to listen to all of the team's information, but the defining factor still lands on the shoulders of the school psychologist in making that determination.
Right.
And so what I wanted parents to know was that, although this is my role as a school psychologist, I understand what it looks like as a parent. And so I wanted to blend the two to let them know that even the gatekeeper of special education
Mm.
too can have a child with special needs. That, we go through the exact same tears that you shed, even sometimes even more, because, I'm the person who's providing information to parents on how to work with their children,
Yeah.
but yet still the strategies that I provided to them, I can't even implement on my own children. Once again, the one size doesn't fit all.
Yes.
So when I did that book, it was almost like a cathartic release for me,
I bet.
to know that it's okay that, I may have this training as a school psychologist, but it doesn't necessarily translate into how I work with my own children, and letting parents know the same thing. Just because we provide you with this information, you know your child best. Some of the things that we provide may not work for your child, but as long as you're working to support the needs of your child, then that's the best that you can do.
I see from your bio that you have also contributed material for your other books, and written several articles related to issues in special education. Do you intend to publish another book, or is this just a one-off?
No, I am excited to say that I am in the process of writing my second book.
What, at
But
2
this
o'clock in the
time,
morning? At 2 o'clock in the morning?
no. Now that I've changed jobs, I'm getting up later and coming home earlier, so I'm excited about that. But I am in the process of writing my second book, but this time it's going to be a little bit different.
Right.
I am actually enlisting the help of my oldest son who has autism. So it's going to be a nice book from the vantage point of, I'm shedding my professionalism as a school psychologist, and I'm learning what it means to be an individual with a disability through his eyes. Because like I always tell people, you can always tell people, what's happening based on, once again, the research and, theory, practice,
Sure.
and all of your years of experience in a particular profession. But until you actually start understanding it through that person's eyes, you really don't know what works. You really don't know what changes are necessary. And so it's going to be a process with him, because some days are better than others.
Sure.
Because of his autism. But what I will say is that he's invested in the book. I'm invested in getting his story out. And so I'm just excited to see where it's going to go.
Fabulous. So where can Book Talk Radio Club listeners purchase Stretch Thin?
I'm actually on Amazon. So you can purchase it from Amazon. You can also get the ebook on Barnes & Nobles. It's on Apple iTunes. It's on Kobo. And those are the 4 that I know right now where it's located at. So just check it out and let me know what you think.
Fabulous. Okay, thank you, Dr. Lisbon. That was fascinating. Please come back on Book Talk Radio Club when you've published your next book, with your son, of course. I'd love to chat with you and hear more. In the meantime, good luck for the future. And thank you, everyone, for listening to Book Talk Radio Club. Bye, April.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.